Yeah. Like, we don't run this business to lose money.
Yep.
There's got to be some spread for us too.
Yep. And yeah, the biggest difference is like they came into the dealership in order to trade in their car. And it's very similar to where it's like it's a way easier conversation because like you said, the motivation, whenever you call in distressed people, that's the hardest thing with new salespeople too, is like they know the house is in foreclosure, but if the other person does not admit it, it doesn't matter. Like they could be motivated on paper, but if they're not even saying it or filling out a lead or anything, they're like, nope, I'm not selling it. And like, they're not motivated.
They're not motivated.
So, yeah,
they're distressed.
Exactly. They're distressed, but they're not motivated.
Yeah. Motivated is more important.
100%. They say yes. They raise my hand and say, yes, I want an offer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I tell people. And I think bad wholesalers are going to fall by the wayside, especially because they're all going after the same people who are distressed, not motivated. And they're unwilling to spend on, inbound leads and everything else. So everybody and their mom pulls a list. They try to cold call. They try to text. Everybody's fighting over the same batch of sellers who everyone knows are in foreclosure on, right?
Yep.
But then there's just this open ball game that nobody is like going to, of just people are like, yeah, dude, I'd take a cash offer. I mean, just like make it worth my while. Don't try to like screw me.
Right.
Just figure out a way to make it a win-win.
Yep.
And that's basically like where these people are.
100%.
And they want it quick.
Yep.
They don't want to like play games and be like, all right, let me talk to you for 40 minutes and wear you down.
Mm-hmm.
let me go and check out the house. They're like, bro, just like, let's just do this.
Yep. Yeah, I think our average time in order to get a contract like actually signed is around 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's
insane. I tell people that. They don't believe it.
Yep. I'll say everybody thinks it's like they got to sit there and talk to him for 30, 45 minutes about all this stuff. I'm like, dude, they don't even want to do that most of the time. Like our average call, a long call will be 20 minutes. That's a long call.
We don't even we don't hold people to talk time KPIs anymore because we used to, right? Like that's like, oh yeah, like let's get our talk time up and everything. But it's like, we're trying to close it in less talk time.
Yep.
So why would we like hold them to a talk time statistic?
Yeah, I don't understand why people did that either because they're sitting there talking about nothing. I'm like, dude, redirect the conversation and keep them on track.
Well, I would actually prefer you talk less and just qualify quick.
Right.
And it's like, all right, like this is not going to be a deal or it is going to be a deal. Let's move on to let's just talk to as many qualified people as possible.
Yep.
And then let's close those people as fast as possible.
Yep.
Like that would be the best process.
100%.
But I think it's interesting too, because you did a lot of cold calling text messaging. You guys still do it because you had a team built out. But like, how have you seen the sales cycle differentiate?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, it's definitely obviously shorter, and the not going to the appointments is way better because I mean, whenever you go to an appointment, you set an appointment, it could be 3 hours later, and then still they call back, hey, somebody else ended up offering me more money. It's like,
I know.
What?
How did that happen?
I'm like, did you just call somebody and say, hey, they offered this, and like you were just waiting, like using our offer against us? And so that's been a game changer, just locking it up on the phone. And then we just have a contingent on a walkthrough. And so it's like, dude, if anything changes, you're not putting yourself out there where you're at risk, but now you got it locked in. So that's been a game changer. I mean, the whole process and Novation in general, obviously, the whole thing's switching. So I can't really speak to what's
Well, I guess what
happen.
I'm talking about is lead source.
Lead source.
Like right now, I mean, obviously we're talking about the lead kitchen leads that are converting super fast, but you still get cold call and text leads. So what would you say the conversion time is on those?
I mean, texting's pretty freaking quick, honestly, because we're outreaching to them and we're texting them. And then usually they say, yes, we have the VA send it over right away, or they're calling in. So it's usually pretty quick and we don't spend a lot of time on that. It's always just finding them at that right time on which they want to sell right there, which is usually the hard part.
But are you still running, you're now running those people through the same pitch, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we run everybody through a very similar pitch now. We're going either ways, but yeah, we're going through very similar. And
would you say that the text people are now they're closing like just as fast after the VA has qualified them, or so they're all closing quick?
Yeah, because I mean, basically they're doing the same thing, right? The VA is texting 1,000. Well, I think she texts more than 1,000 people now, 2,000 people a day. She's sending out text. Like, you're interested, you're interested. Then they say yes, she's still qualifying a little bit more. And then after it qualifies, then it gets sent over. Those are just the same people that is lead kitchen because they're saying yes. They're raising their hand and saying, yes, I'm interested right now.
Right.
And so they're already saying yes. You have to go through so much more, which is why we have a VA doing it now instead of our acquisitions guys. We used to have our acquisitions guys doing it, which like it teaches you really quickly. And so it teaches you how to qualify and find out who a real lead is, which is why I like it. And then also when you're texting, you're learning what to say instead of like how to say it, because a lot of people, they don't know how to speak these words, or you can't say them very well, and it takes a little bit of time. But if you text it, you have to read it and say it out loud, and then you kind of get used to it. So that's why I like the guys doing it up front. But obviously it's like a $5 per hour task, because you're texting people who are not even saying they're interested until you get them to say yes. That's when you want somebody good talking to them.
Yeah, and I think the other part is it's just harder to scale, because it's not as simple as just spending more money.
Yes.
It's like you got to train people, labor. There's kind of like limits to how much you can text, and
there's a lot of too, which is always interesting. I mean, we always tell people, if you're texting, don't tell them, like, do not tell them who we are until we find out that they're safe,
that they're legit. Yeah, I've been sued.
How much was it? Was it like 100?
Well, yeah, they sued for over 100. This guy claimed I was on a cold call. He claimed that we had called him 100 something times. And he's like, yeah, the penalty's $2,000 a strike. And so, I'm suing you for like 200 something thousand. I'm like, bro, we did not call you 200 times. Like, that didn't happen.
It was everybody else along with you.
It was every person who's ever called you. But it ended up costing me like over 40 grand.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Was it still worth it?
Well, I mean, in the long run, we made more than 40 grand cold calling and texting.